Perfect. And I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Under discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Charlotte, would you lead us in honoring our nation by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Are there any persons wishing to address members of the Board of Education? And Charlotte, do you want to do it? You want to do it during your student report time, right? Sure. Okay, very good then. All right, no one wants to speak, so we will continue. We are under item 4, communications. I'll start with the board president's report. I hope everyone had a meaningful Thanksgiving and we'll have a Merry Christmas and fulfilling season of the other holidays as well. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the heartbreaking loss that our community has felt for one of our teammates and her family. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them. We appreciate the work the staff had over the past week during this time. The board and I are very mindful of the loss and its emotional impact, and we appreciate the professionalism of the team that has kept that together. In the midst of this, I'm pleased to be able to report a positive piece of news. We have a bit of an early Christmas present for the community. The board has hired a fantastic new superintendent to succeed Lisa upon her retirement. The journey started in August when we hired CISA 7, which is a public-private partnership that helps school districts operate more effectively. We hired them to be our recruiting firm. They've been an indispensable partner throughout this process, and we're grateful to them for the positive impact they had on us during this process. We considered upward of about 25 candidates, and then members of the community and our staff interviewed 6 of the candidates and gave us their feedback. The board invited back 4 finalists, and last week we made an offer, and it was eagerly and enthusiastically accepted, which warms our hearts. We found a great match. On behalf of the board, I'd like to introduce Dr. Michael Jewick. He goes by Mike, and he will come to us from an assistant superintendent role in the high-performing Howard Suamico district. He's been an elementary and middle school teacher, served in both middle and high school administrator roles. He's been a district administrator and an assistant superintendent in both large and small districts. And he is currently responsible for all the operations up in Howard Suamico. We're working on a transition plan. Mike is looking for opportunities to meet with teachers and staff and to get to know our community right away. We're also working on a plan where he may be able to work alongside Lisa during this transition period over the coming months so he can hit the ground running with relationships and knowledge. He intends, and we are grateful for his desire to begin the journey by being involved, learning, and being present in a meaningful way right away. He and his wife, Amanda, have already begun looking for a house in the village, and we will work hard to welcome them and help them learn about our history, our traditions, our students, our companies, our staff and teachers, but especially our students. Please join me all in welcoming Mike Jewick to the Kohler School District. And Charlotte, would you hand Mike the microphone, or Kelly, would you pass it down? He'd like to say a few words as well.
Well, thank you. I very much appreciate and I'm excited about the opportunity. First, I'd like to thank the board for providing us this opportunity to support the Kohler students and school community. We're grateful. Amanda and I are extremely excited for this next transition and chapter in our life. I'd also like to make sure that I thank our team that I met with today and was able to get to know them a little bit better in their support in this transition. And that's already been a great experience, and it hasn't even started officially. So thank you to those folks that took time today. I'd also like to make sure that I said thank you to the staff and the community members that participated in the interview process. The excitement, the passion, the joy, and just the pure excitement around the Kohler School District was outstanding. I had the privilege to tour with 2 students, and they talked about things that they loved the most. And one of those was about the care and support that they receive from our staff. And I think it's critical to mention that, because when I asked them about all the things that they enjoyed, that was the first thing they mentioned. Then they went on to mention their classes and extracurriculars. That said a lot to me through this process. That's a spot that I want to be, that's where I want to be a part of, and that's where Amanda and I really want to continue our journey. So thank you. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to live in this community and continue to grow together to provide our students with opportunities for the next chapter of their life. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So to wrap up my report, a couple of things that I try to do each time are school board committees. I'm so pleased and grateful for our committee chairs. The hard work of what happens in our district happens at the committee level. And so as parents, especially out there, maybe those viewing, if you are interested in the workings of your school board, please start by attending some committees. There's great work that gets done there. And parents, one of the touchstones, Dr. Amy Harms, who was a great member of this board, one of the things she would say to us when we were deliberating something, she would say, remember, our children are watching. And I always like to remind us as we serve to be role models and serve to make decisions that affect the community that we never forget that our kids are watching and how we engage with each other. I'm grateful for parental involvement. The parents, you are our customers. They're your children, and you have expectations of us and of Lisa and soon of Mike and the team, the staff. We want to over-deliver against your expectations, so please stay involved with a curious and positive disposition as you interact with us. And a lot of people are working very hard and passionately to serve you and your kids. So thank you for that. And with that, I will turn it over to the principal's reports, please.
So first it would be mine.
Sorry, you're right, I jumped.
That's okay, no
Yep,
problem.
off to Lisa.
So the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction calculates our annual report cards each year on an index of 100. It's not really 100%, but it's an index of 0 to 100. The report cards were released on November 19th, and I'm really happy to say that all three schools are very stable and functioning in the top 5% of the state. Our scores rank number 3 school district out of 421, and there were only 8 schools in the state to reach the significantly exceeds expectation, and we were one of those 8. Our high school was number 2, ranked out of 514 public 9 through 12 high schools. The middle school was ranked number 21 out of 359 public grade schools 6 through 8, and our elementary school was number 2 out of 1,206 public schools. The Kohler Elementary did exceptionally well. They actually were the 10th highest overall report card in the state, and that's with public schools, private schools, Da Vinci School for the Gifted. I mean, they ranked really high, very well. So our elementary school did extremely well. Very, very proud of them. Of course, we have a stellar staff, of course. I'll give a full report of accountability to the board in January with that complete data. So we're ready to roll with that, so really happy about that. The Holiday Arts and Crafts Fair was very successful. It was amazing as always. A big thank you to Ellie Bonnick and her team for an extremely successful and well-run craft fair. I want to thank them for leaving the decorations up. We've all been enjoying those all month, and we're happy to see that. It just brings in the festive spirit when you walk in the door. So I want to thank them for that. The Joe Wolf dedication event was so great. It was a wonderful event that brought our community together. It gave a great tribute to Joe and truly celebrate the wonderful impact he had on so many lives. A special thank you to Ryan Springer, Ken Rader, Drew Dantzler, and John Cole for their many hours of work to prepare for that event. It was a very special night. The next 7 school days, hard to believe that there's only 7, but 7 school days will be very busy with holiday concerts, activities. We have the elementary winter concert coming this Friday, middle school and high school choir concert on Monday, and then Friday, December 20th is a full day of school, but it will be the last one before winter break, and then students will return on January 2nd. So it's coming fast. I can't believe we only have 7 days left before our break. So I would also like to welcome Charlotte here as our representative. She will be joined with Ben, who was here last year as well. He will continue on, wasn't able to come tonight. So welcome, Charlotte. We appreciate your seat at the table.
Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Very good. Before we go on to the principal reports, we forgot to take our pictures. We've got
yes.
a photographer here, so we're going to pause for just a moment. We're going to take some pictures, and then we'll return with the principal reports.
Thank you.
Let's just adjourn over by the American flag.
Yeah, is the board.
Sure. Yeah, it's 5 plus 1, so put us wherever your eyes are. Is that difficult?
Heather passed me this little note. That's Sweet. Just like slid note like we were in 5th grade. Thank you.
You think this would take away from the?
Yes.
All right, now we'll do a goofy one.
Can we get a handshake shot? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Courtney. I feel like I should have got mentally prepared for this.
They
Maybe a
kind of
memo
sprung
next
that on
time
you.
on
Yeah,
the
kind of
agenda,
sprung,
like, you know.
sprung that on you.
Just
That's
Photoshop
funny.
off the wrinkles, that'd be good.
Bombers right there. All right, so continuing,
Yes.
if we could do the principal reports, please.
So Terry, do you want to do yours, and then I'll do Natasha? Oh, correct. I'll do Natasha's, then we'll pass that microphone down. So Natasha's unable to make it tonight, so I do have her report. In priority 1, in maximize achievement and growth for each student, they've implemented the multi-level systems of support to ensure academic support for all students, both at the middle school and high school level. The ACT and pre-ACT test preparation is underway for juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. As part of the professional development, staff continues to work on increasing disciplinary literacy strategies to promote student engagement. This week, they have 4 staff who are at the School Leaders Advancing Technology in Education, which is called the SLATE Conference. And in November, we sent a teacher to the 2024 National Association for Biology Teachers Conferences. So it's professional development is a gift, and we're very, very pleased that we can send teachers to some really high-quality professional development. Youth Internship Parent-Student Information Night will be Monday, January 27th for parents of sophomores and juniors. Priority 2, fostering a positive and safe school climate. We've had the safety drills and tabletop conversations. They continue monthly. PBIS in middle school is character trait focus for December is generosity. ACP high school lessons focus on college spending and a college spending simulation. Community Service Project, this year we extended the opportunity to all high school students as well. We want to thank Nicole Nevers for coordinating this event and all those who participated. Students assisted 28 local organizations and completed 31 service projects. In comparison to last year, that means they were able to add 12 more organizations and 11 more service projects this year, so that's fantastic. This was a tremendous undertaking and a great way to get our students involved in service throughout Kohler and the Sheboygan area. The 6th annual Out with the Old, In with the New book drive starts December 13th and runs through January 16th, 2025. This event was started by an alumni and is currently coordinated by your sister, a senior, Riley Holtzrichter. Books will be donated to the Next Door Foundation. If you're able to donate a new or a gently used book, please stop by the main school office. So we'll be sending flyers out to parents about that book. The Holtzrichter girls started that when they were in elementary school, so we've been doing that for quite a few years. Child Hunger Awareness, we want to congratulate Ellie Martin and Olivia Sharon, 2 students in our Health Occupation Students of America HOSA organization, who received a proclamation from Mayor Ryan Sorensen of Sheboygan for their cause to raise child hunger awareness, which is fantastic. We're really proud of them and the work that they did. Magical students continue to share the magic of the holidays through their music and will be at the Wade House Christmas on Saturday, December 14th at 4 p.m. and the Velder House and the Gingerbread Festival on Sunday, December 15th at 2 p.m. In priority 3, optimizing learning spaces, the teachers continue to use the collaborative learning space as an extension of their classrooms, as this promotes group work and access to additional workspaces. And that concludes the high school report.
Thank you. Terry?
Thank you. So as you all know, November into December is quite busy and it's going fast. As Lisa mentioned, we have a concert right around the corner on Friday where we'll have 3 concerts. There'll be a JK1 at 10, second and third at 1, and fourth and fifth at 2. Some other exciting things that our staff has done for the first time was a penny war, and that was sponsored by our leadership team, our team leaders, which are 4th and 5th graders, and that made around $2,600, almost $2,700 that went to the Salvation Army, which was wonderful. They had a ball. They now know what it means to sabotage, even the little 4K and 5K. It was quite funny.
Basically, a lot of trips to the bank with lots of buckets.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Teachers maybe they had to settle them down, but it was a lot of fun. We also had a game day. Our PBIS is really strong, as you all know, and there was a celebration just with games. Classes came together, multi-grades, and anything from bingo to coloring pages to you name it. I mean, tons of games were there. We also had a couple guests, including Nurse Nicole, who spoke to a couple different grade levels on diabetes and then also autism. A lot of just really heartfelt questioning from the students happened, and just such compassion, I think, was shown from the students. Lots of awesome lessons have been with our Nourish program again this month. They've been tasting, each month is a different taste, and this month they tasted cranberry muffins, sour cranberries, and I would say a lot of them went uneaten because there's not the sugars and things like that in it. Curriculum, Amplify is continuing to be kind of a leader in our pack, although we do have 3, possibly 4 that we've been looking at and just got Smithsonian to just continue to look at the science curriculum. And as Lisa mentioned, Slate, we had a 2nd grade teacher that went. He's very active in Derek. He's very savvy in the technology, and our STEAM lab is quite strong. And safety with teachers, we continue to have, you'll be getting a report on all of the safety drills, and teachers did a stellar job at the beginning of the year and went to kind of the excavation sites, and then they continue to practice. Of course, district-wide, we practice that. And I think that is about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlotte, what have you got for us from the student perspective, please?
Hi, my name is Charlotte Bullard, and I'm a high school student, council representative on the executive board. So a little update on what the council has been doing. So this past week, we have been taking part in the penny war inspired by the elementary. So we have raised about $175 so far, and all the proceeds will be going to the Salvation Army as well. A lot of the school spirit is circulating with all the decorations still up from the successful craft fair. And the basketball games, especially the Joe Wolf Memorial Game, have really made us feel really proud to be Kohler Blue Bombers. We are currently working towards our Winterfest, which is the week of January 27th to the 31st. And we have already chosen festive dress-up days, in which we are really excited to announce. And today we brainstormed a bunch of fun ideas for the pep rally. And to give you a little sneak peek, we are thinking of doing human hungry hippo, which will be interesting to watch. And we're also doing a crowd pleaser of musical chairs. So that's just like a little summary of what our council's been doing, and I just want to thank you guys for inviting me today.
Any hard questions for her?
No, great job. Great job.
Thank you, Charlotte. Next will be our athletic director, Ryan Springer.
All right, so I always believe in starting with positives, so I just want to thank all the event workers from this fall: Rachel Hulk, Ann Bitter, Ryan Romanowski, Kristen Romanowski, Spencer Williams, Natasha Rull, Lisa Green, Gina Trubridge, Cynthia Stram, Keith Augustine, Ryan Tangowski, Nick Devine, Alexa Ellis, all the swim and dive parents for working the events as timers, Jenny Weiler, Isaac Patterson, Adrian Seymour, Drew Dansler, John Cole, the Booster Club especially, Rosa Hartman, Mark Mead. They all do incredible work raising money for our athletics and activities. And then, of course, all the coaches from youth to high school to middle school. They put in countless hours, and they're just all tremendous. I think we have some of the best coaches in the state, to be honest. And we have the evidence to kind of back that up. So our fall summary this year, I'll start with volleyball here. I'm just going to go over the highlights because I know we're pretty pressed on time today. But highlights would be we hosted our first home volleyball playoff game in about a decade. So that was a pretty special moment for the team and the girls. And then we also won our first volleyball game in about a decade. So that was just a very fun moment for me to see them celebrating and all the great things that came after that. We would go on to lose eventually to the state champions, but it was just a great moment for me especially. Soccer, we hosted a home playoff game. We are in a very competitive conference. We play against some of the top-ranked teams in the state. Several of them went to the sectional final game. One of them went to the state with Sheboygan. Our neighbors, Sheboygan Falls, went to state. So we're in a very tough conference, but we always play tough and keep things close. Coach Romney did step down due to just family reasons. He has a very young family, so he wants to spend more time with them. I want to sincerely thank him for all of his time and efforts, and I want to wish him his best with his young family. So we're currently looking for a new coach. We started the interviews today for that. Cross country. The boys are now back-to-back state champions. They won in D2 this year, so the WIA bumped them up from D3 to D2, and they took the challenge, and they won that too, and they won it pretty convincingly. So congratulations to them. And then the girls won their first ever state championship. Nice. So both our girls and boys won cross-country state, which is quite rare for that to happen. So hats off to the coaches, Coach Borland, Coach Markert, Lindstrom's. They did a great job. KLF swimming, they were sectional champions for the team, and then they went on to win or place in 4th place at state. This is the best finish that the program has ever had in history. So all the coaches just did an amazing job with that. And I listed some of the individual performances as well on my board report. Girls tennis, sectional winners, also went to state for team state. And they had 6 individual state participants. So once again, it's quite rare for a school to have one team compete in state, let alone 3 or 4 different teams go to state. So just hats off to the coaches and everything they did. And Charlotte was on that team, yeah.
Congratulations. Very
Yeah.
impressive.
And just an interesting note, we were the only public school competing in our bracket, so. And we were very, very close to making it to the finals of that. So, young team though, so a lot returning next year. And then KLC football kept their playoff streak alive. They did lose in the first round, but we do have a lot returning next year, so I'm pretty excited to see what happens with that. In our activities, middle school math club is back up and running, so I want to thank Suzanne Walter for starting them back up. They recently finished in 3rd in a meet. The high school math team is still going. They did a great job. Congratulations to Chaz Hall and Jason Tien, earning all state medals. And then thank you for the pep band for performing during a football game this year. So that was the first time in a long time that the pep band went to a football game. So that was really fun to see. And then I think someone mentioned that Allie Martin and Olivia are raising money for the Sheboygan County Food Bank. They've raised over $1,200 so far for that, and they met the mayor for that. So just great job to our athletics and activities. They're doing a lot of amazing things. It's just really great to see, and I'm very happy for everyone that participates in that and our students and our community at this time.
Can we
ask any questions?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Brian, I was hoping that you'd report on the student group that you got together last year, the sportsmanship group. Just wondering if that club is still in existence and what came of it, maybe what changes we made.
You mean Choose Sportsmanship? The sportsmanship pins?
No, the kids who, I think you got a larger group
Oh, the Student Leadership Athletic Group. Yes, so I'm still working with several of them. Sam Sawaki is one of the leaders of that, so I've been working with them, especially at basketball games this year, to be that point person, the leader of the group, and making sure that they're acting appropriately, being respectful, responsible, and safe at games. So I've been working with him especially.
Okay. And then the other question I had was, do we know our levels of participation? Do we have numbers for how many students participate in athletics, how many students participate
Yep.
in activities?
The last time I ran the numbers, it was about 93% in activities and athletics for the school, which is very high in the state. Many schools right now are struggling to field teams and field activities. We have quite the opposite problem right now because we have a lot of people in sports and participating, and it's really great to see.
And the middle school math club, is that parent volunteer led?
Suzanne Walter runs that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she started that back up this year, and we have about 18 people participating in that.
I think we have T-shirts too.
Yep.
I saw
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
Us math people are really excited about that.
So elementary, middle, and high school all got T-shirts, like uniforms almost.
Cool.
I'm excited. So keep that up.
Yeah.
And Andrea, schools that have the kind of participation rates that we do, that's just good for the student body too, right? Because that builds the whole person. Great. Anything else? All right, let's move on to the report of the Finance Committee. Is that going to be you or Isaac?
We didn't have anything, I mean, we'll be talking about open enrollment. Do you want to present that? Do you have a, or we just want to talk about the?
So this is something, I think the open enrollment will ultimately vote in January, right?
Correct.
So
This is
this is
just
getting
our
ready.
discussion.
I can talk
Okay.
about it.
Yep.
if you'd
Just
like.
preliminary discussions.
Okay.
That's fine, and I can jump in with things.
The idea is so
Yeah,
we're better
yeah, yeah.
informed, we can
100%.
think about it for the next month, get more information, and then vote on it
And I
in
do have
January.
handouts if you don't have those copies up, if anyone would
I
like.
prefer it.
I
Yeah,
would-
thank you.
I would prefer that. So we just wanted to open the discussion about open enrollment now so that we can ask questions and have the conversation. It's required that by state law that we have to vote in January on our open enrollment numbers. And if we vote in January and then the seats fill, maybe we lose some residents or something, and we decide to open more seats later, we're much less able to say which classrooms we want those seats to go toward. So if you recall last year, we opened up all siblings. But we can't just pick and choose later on. So January is our time where we can set our limits. So Isaac has prepared several scenarios and ready to field questions about them, right?
Yeah, I have
Right,
a question.
certainly.
On the scenarios, just, it looks like really the only thing we're discussing, or that's been proposed here, are changes to 4K.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, and then if I remember right, last year we set them in January, but then came back and opened it up to siblings? Is that right?
We did do that in
Okay.
June or July.
I gotcha, okay. Yep.
So yes, you'll notice all three of the options. The first one I just called status quo, nothing really changes. The second one will change by adding a third section. And then the final one will be keeping two sections but increasing the class size, and then also adding an aide to each class. Right now, we currently have one shared aide between the two.
So I want to talk about that option just for a second if I can. So this morning, knowing we were going to be talking about the 4K option, I did have a conversation with Betty Bly and Nicole Whitwer that we would be discussing this. I thought it was only fair that they knew that. And as I was explaining the two options, both 4K teachers immediately said, we would like a third option. We would rather raise our class size limit to 20 or 21 like they had last year with an aide in each. They felt that gave a more consistent experience for the 4K kids. They do an awful lot collaborating, so the morning kids would know each other and those 12 or 13 in the afternoon would not be able to socialize with the rest of them and know the kids. They felt that put them behind, as well as field trips. So they were both emphatically asked me to please consider instead, in lieu of that, they would prefer adding numbers to their 4K with a full aid in each of the classrooms as opposed to an afternoon section. That was just from that.
And so that would be option 3.
That'd be
That's what
option
you're
3.
speaking to?
Mhm.
Okay.
That came up this morning in light of the conversation and the request from the two 4K teachers. They felt very emphatically about it. They're the ones that brought the scenario up. I didn't even broach it, but they really felt very strongly about that.
I do really appreciate you asking them as well, just their feedback.
It
So-
would be helpful for me to see the financial implications
Yeah,
for the
I
different
was
scenarios.
just about to address a couple of things
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted to mention verbally. You'll notice on the first page, the reason why this is even a discussion is on the second line down, 5K. You'll notice 3 in column C that we have about 30 kids projected. And that is based on who we know that's coming from 4K with a slight addition based on history, an average based on history of who comes that didn't go to 4K. So we're at 30 for 3 sections. So definitely small class sizes. So that leads to column F showing that we have potentially 20 seats we can fill if we reach the limit that we typically hit. So the consideration is if we have the additional 4K seats, the additional 4K section, or whatever we do, we can fill kindergarten a little bit easier. That's the initial reason for the discussion. You'll notice on the next page, if we're talking about the 3 sections, one of the big things that we need to consider is when that section will be. Lisa's already alluded to the fact that there's not room, physical space, for a third 4K section in the morning. So that would lead to either we're needing to consider space, we'd also need to consider an additional teacher. The costs are definitely a lot higher, so if we're considering this option, it's pretty much most likely that would be for the afternoon. And that would be, as we discussed with Betty Bly, taking over that role. So that would have a financial ramification of paying for a bus. So we'd have to have an additional bus route for those kids. And as far as staffing goes, it would be pretty similar because we're already hiring Betty Bly. However, we would lose elementary school Spanish.
Do we have any 4K students right now taking the bus at 11 a.m.?
No, fortunately, we do not.
So, and then the previous year, I believe there was one family and they were just given a stipend.
They chose to take the, yes, we offered them the stipend and they take that, yes.
So that's the potential ramification.
I think on that, it would be helpful for me to see, not now, and I know that's why I bring this up, be able to see the financial implication kind of over time there, because you would have both the 1-year investment or the ongoing investment of a teacher or a section, but then that also presumably should have a trickle-up effect through the enrollment as people go. So a robust one, that would be helpful as we kind of
So verbally to tell
Yeah.
you today, we'd have about a $14,000 to $15,000 bus route. We'd have to have approximately 5 kids to break even. And then beyond that, that would be funding the position, funding the section.
Yeah, but there'd also be, I think, maybe I just don't understand open enrollment, we're also gonna see revenue in year 1, plus assuming they transition to grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we would continue to see that revenue throughout. So that would be helpful, just kind of see what that is, maybe an envelope calculation on a timeline.
Kind
Am I
of the
making
lifetime
sense?
value of a
Yeah,
student.
yeah, that'd be helpful.
Right, because if we get them in 4K, we retain them. It's easier to get them in 4K than any other grade. is my
Maybe
understanding.
it's a simple calculation of the open enrollment cash over the life of that student.
And that's the thing that also the value of the open enrollment cash is it doubles after 4K.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that does have
So it'd
increasing
be
value.
helpful.
Ideally, in a perfect world, we would get all 20 open enrollment spots for 5K. In a perfect world, that's not always going to happen, but
Well, typically we fill 100% of our 4K open enrollment spots and 75% of 5K, and then you can see at the bottom, it goes down 60% in first grade, 45 in second.
Yeah.
And we don't usually have too many spots
Yeah, yeah.
available in first or second grade. So it's a little bit of a philosophical discussion because right now we have 25, we did a lot of work last year
Yeah.
to figure out who our actual village residents are so that we know the actual students versus just an average that we're guessing for 4K. So we have 25 students in the village coming into 4K next year. That doesn't include any of our open enrollment families who may have a sibling that's coming into 4K next year, so we're working on trying to get those numbers. Because at 25, it looks like we would have 4 open enrollment seats if we just stuck with 2 sections. Those may get filled by families that I would already consider, these are our families, these are Kohler families, because they're open enrolled. And then we wouldn't be welcoming any new families into our district in 4K, which is what happened this year.
And I remember last year, the finance, we had the discussion that essentially on 4K, if we open it, it will fill. That was if we opened 5 sections, they would fill. And so one of the things that gave us flexibility last year, or for this school year, was we stuck with the 2 with the commitment that if there was that surge like we had 2 years ago, we would explore reopening that again, which would allow the village residents to come and open that up. I think wasn't that the rationale behind that?
Yeah, so last year we had 13 students on the wait list for 4K that did not get in. So there's a demand for 4K, and usually they become our family.
Yep.
And they stay with us.
Do we have the current numbers for this year, the classroom numbers? Is that provided anywhere? Am I missing it?
Where the classes are at?
That
With
should be
the
our
2
projected.
4K,
There's,
what,
all of the
projections
numbers are just moving up. So this
Got
year's
it,
first
okay.
grade would be last year's. The only number that's different is the kindergarten is actually 27. We went up 3 seats based on history. That kind of shows that
so
we get
right
a few
now
more
in
students.
4K, there's 27.
27. So that's where we're filling our kindergarten,
see.
our 3 seats of kindergarten with. Or 3 sections, sorry.
Okay.
I should mention while we're discussing financial ramifications, option 3, we don't have any consideration of a bus. So as far as finances go, there's not a lot of significant changes. We have to add an aide.
Is that a full aid or a half an aid?
half an aide?
Half an aid.
Because it's only a 3-hour class. So there's not a lot of financial ramifications to option 3. However, that's lesser than option 2 in the number of kids. So there's obvious benefits, and there's benefits to all options, I guess.
With option 1, I want to start out by saying the board does not want to get rid of any FTEs, and if there's some movement that needs to be had by teachers, hopefully that could come with retirements and things like that. I don't know how we would justify at 5K having 3 sections with 30 students, because our minimum per section is 14. So to me, if it is 30, the reasonable thing would be 2 sections and move that 3rd teacher. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know if that's part of the discussion of open enrollment, but when we're looking at the numbers, I don't know how we.
That is part of the discussion
Justify.
because a bigger 4K section does lead into feeding a more robust 5K section.
Right, so, yeah, from what I see, I would like to see the numbers all the way through, but, looking at it, the 3 sections is attractive to me. I don't like option 3, where the maximum section size is 21, where, I understand they would have an aide, a second person in the classroom. It was not ideal 2 years ago, and I don't think that's the default that we want to go to for 4-year-olds in their first school experience.
I would agree.
I would have a hard time justifying 21 per section. If there's any other districts who do that and what the research says about having that large of section, I would wanna see that research.
You did that. We had that last year, didn't we?
I taught 4K for 2 years in Plymouth. I had 22 both of my years in Plymouth.
Did you have an aide in your room? Or
I
just
did.
you? Mhm.
Yep.
I would venture, though, that if we had known we were going to have those large class sizes,
Yes.
if we would have known that, rewind to the timeline, and we knew it in December or January, I feel we just kind of got back on court because it was so late. The discussion probably would have been clear, let's do 3.
We would have gone to
yeah.
3 sections.
We would have
Our
gone to 3.
threshold for 3 sections is 42.
Mhm.
So putting 21 in 2 classrooms
I would agree.
is actually our threshold for
And then
3
being able
sections.
to go, if you do 3, then you can go to 48 rather than 42, so there's that
Mhm.
piece of it too.
Right. As far as flip-flopping the teachers and having 2 5K sections and 3 4K sections, that's what we used to do. I don't know how familiar you are with the history of the elementary
Not
with
at
the
all.
teachers, but we used to have 2 sections, or I'm sorry, 2 grade levels each year that only had 2 sections. And so that section would just, that teacher would just move. So if it was, we would determine next year, okay, next year's 5K is only getting 2 sections, then one of those kindergarten teachers has to move.
Yep.
And then the following year, now we do have 3 kindergartens, so somebody's moving, but then a first grade teacher is moving, and that provided a lot of movement for teachers, changing of grade levels.
Which takes care of the space, AM versus PM. So the 30, so Isaac, right now, there's 27 in 4K.
That we
Is that
know
correct?
about for sure. The projection is another
I'm
30.
sorry, this
Currently
year,
enrolled.
right now.
I'm
there's-
sorry, correct.
Okay.
And I'm apologies. Where are we getting? I don't see a 27 in the 4K row.
It's the 5K row. It says 30 right now.
Okay.
That is 27 kids that are currently in 4K this year,
Okay.
plus
I'm sorry. Okay.
plus kind of a ratio of what we
Okay.
project is the unknown kids who didn't go to 4K.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we
My
have
apologies.
20, if I'm reading this correctly, there's 20, wait,
20 seats available for kindergarten.
how many are residents right now in the current 4K who are going to 5K?
I can get that for you in just a moment here.
I guess, so my question is, we're gonna open up open enrollment seats. We're only projecting 3 of those seats to be filled at 5K.
We're projecting 15 of those seats to be filled in 5K, 75%.
Right now, 12 are filled then, in next year. Am I understanding that correctly? If we're expecting an increase of 3,
We're expecting that increase is sort of an allotment for village residents because some people choose not to send their children to our public school for 4K. So they might go to the art center or maybe they go to Maywood or something and then they come here for 5K. So that increase of 3 is just village residents.
resident growth, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I would read it,
Okay.
yeah.
Kelly,
Okay.
of the 27 kids in 4K this year, 21 are residents, 6 are open enrollment.
That's interesting, so, okay.
Tara, did the finance committee? I know we brought forward these scenarios. Did the finance committee have a recommendation? Knowing we're not voting tonight, but I'm just curious.
We didn't.
Okay.
We didn't come up with a recommendation. We wanted to have, this is such a large decision that it needs to be full board.
I gotcha.
And one of the things the board is asking is for that financial projection, right?
Right.
Between now
And I
the
will
next meeting.
state, for the record, I am happy to provide that. As myself being new to the Kohler district, I have been absolutely thrilled with being here, and I myself might be have a vested interest in what these numbers are. So I am excluding myself from any opinions
Oh,
Oh,
as far
sure.
as open enrollment goes. So
okay. But you can do the
You provide the
financial
numbers.
analysis.
yes, I most certainly can. I can provide you all the
That's but
numbers,
no
but as
opinion.
far as opinions, I have none to provide because I do have a vested
No,
interest.
Roger.
I appreciate that. Stand up.
Any other dialogue for tonight? And any other questions off the top of your head? We always reserve the right to ask more questions as we ponder these things. We've got a month to,
And Corey, that's on this. I have one more thing also.
oh, please. Before we move on this, is there anything else that we know we want?
I don't know if it's a question, but boy, it would be the good discussions. It'd be good to put this to rest at some point. This is an ongoing discussion about section size for, years now. We did make the commitment last year through a motion, not a policy, to be a 3-section elementary. And just for my own thinking and wait to see the finances, I am leaning towards the option 2, which is the 3rd section. reserve that, till we get the finances. That makes us a 3-section throughout.
And is there another finance committee meeting before the next board meeting? There is, right?
Yes.
So we can
Yes.
discuss this, whatever we come up with and whatever facts you share, we can hash that out at the next finance committee meeting
Yes,
before we
definitely.
vote. Okay.
And just, oh, sorry, just to, if Betty is teaching an afternoon section, just so everyone's aware, that would mean she's unavailable to teach elementary Spanish.
And
Yeah.
that room is unavailable also for elementary Spanish both, correct?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure the board was
And,
aware.
and we talked about that, and the elementary Spanish program could be improved. And so if we decide the right thing to do is to open up that other section, the loss of any foreign language isn't great, but this program probably isn't great. So the loss is probably, you should decide what we want to do for kindergarten.
I agree, I just want everyone to have the full
Yep.
information.
Yep.
I agree that we should focus on kindergarten, I won't comment on the elementary Spanish.
Well,
Can I
as
ask
a
a
parent, I
question
will.
historically, like you mentioned the history and Lisa too? What do the teachers feel about the looping? I mean, I know it has to happen if it's voted on, but because that's a switch of a teacher, correct? Going from, so one of our kinder teachers would loop then and do that. How did they feel back then when you used to do it? You said that used to be common practice.
It was common practice, and it depends on who you ask. I mean, some teachers liked it, some teachers did not.
I do think we should be clear though that here the discussion is the section size and that's separated from the looping, right? So I think that, or not.
Well, it may impact it.
Okay.
It could impact, I mean, I don't know that we've ever had 15 open enrollment spots in 5K before.
I gotcha.
What I know is that had we opened a 3rd section last year and had those 13 students in our district, we would be sitting at 44, 45 for
know,
next, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And we'd
you're
have
spot
a-
on, yeah. We
we'd
should have
have
opened
a
a 3rd
legitimate
section.
kindergarten
I think,
program.
and 2 years ago, we should have, yeah.
I think we need to also be prepared to tell the story of what it does for our district, because when we're opening those seats, we're subsidizing quite a bit of students who are not village students. We're not just filling up our sections, we're now creating another section, which gives us more opportunities as those students move to middle school and high school, but I think it's important for us to tell that story.
I would be careful to say we're subsidizing those students because in another way, they are subsidizing our students. Our open enrollment is $2.6 million. So it affords us it affords us a lot of opportunities
Exactly.
that our students would not have if we were a 450 student school versus a 750.
I
So-
agree with that completely. It's not though that we're only rounding out our classes, maximizing our class size. We're adding a new section of open enrollment, but I agree completely.
Yeah.
Maybe
Which we
subsidizing
have
the rate.
throughout. I mean, our open enrollment is 38% of our student body, so that is a third. We have 3 sections
Right.
all the way through, and that is over a third. So we essentially have done that. I think the conversation way early on when they decided to do all the marketing for open enrollment was because they wanted our students to have the opportunity, A, to have a local school district because Kohler School District was possibly not going to make it, and B, to give them all of the opportunities, the AP classes, the dual enrollment, all of the sports, all of the activities. It's a blend, right? It's give and take. So
That's a great point, Tara, and I think that's the story that we need to make sure that we're telling, so people are aware of why we're doing that. Yep.
Thank you to all of the work you've all
Yeah.
put into this.
Thank you.
Can you dig out some of that research from last year? You had some really good research that informed our decision last year to refresh our minds.
And if
So distribute that would be a good thing.
And if I could get an invite, I would be happy to sit in on the finance meeting if I have any financial questions. So Adrian, if you could maybe send that invite to the whole board, and those who have an interest can join.
that would be great,
Yeah.
especially
And that way,
since you've
if
been
we
there.
need a discussion there, that might be a good spot.
Post it as board meeting.
Sure. That sounds like a good idea.
So one more item that we have is on December 15th, the state requires all audit reports to be in. Typically, audit reports are always issued on that day or the day before. So we will be receiving our audit report very shortly. We've already been given some preliminary information, and I'm happy to announce we have no unexpected findings or issues. Everything is as anticipated. School districts pretty much throughout the state, pretty much every school district will have the finding of your auditor write your report, and that's just pretty much anyone but a really, really big school has that finding.
Yeah.
Our school district size, we have internal controls, which is very common for our school district size, and then journal entries, which during a transition year for one, and also some accounting practices that we're updating, that's to be anticipated as well, probably even next year as we're making improvements on our accounting process.
Sure.
So all three of those were the findings, and they're standard wording, standard everything. So we're really, really happy with all the results.
Great.
So
Thank you.
All right.
Good work.
Thanks.
Survives. Yeah.
And that leads us to, that's probably number 5 right there, the review of the district finances. Anything else under that topic?
Nothing else.
no, finances
You good?
are right on track. Expenses are exactly where we expect. Tax revenues start coming in January. So
All right. Charlotte, you good? All right.
You know,
Well-
something I could just add there, we might think about adding to this, Isaac, for the review of finances, maybe just a quick dashboard that would just be like revenues, green, expenses, green, it'd be like a red light, yellow light, green light. Just a visual to say, yep, everything's tracking good, and then we just have that kind of documented.
sure.
Do we ever have-
in the notes?
Yeah, you could just add
in
it to the
notes?
review of finances, yeah. Yeah, nothing complicated, I'm just thinking just a couple of key economic metrics to tell us we're tracking good.
Sure. Sure.
I can share with you some things I'm thinking about.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never have any cash flow issues or anything with.
No.
So, okay. Yeah, whatever your
Yeah.
ideas are, share them with Isaac, and very good. Moving down to the consent agenda. The items under the consent agenda are an approval of our meeting minutes from November 13th and an approval of invoices which you've had time to look at. Is there anybody that wants to break either of those out for a separate vote or need to recuse? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
And anything under discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item. This will be 2 items that we can do together. Let me verbalize it, and then we can choose to do it as one or two. So we have to accept under Act 43, we as a board have no action on 3 of the documents that are here. We merely accept them. Lisa and her team report those to the state, and we are merely acknowledging that she has done that and we have seen them. And another item under here is the annual, at least once every 3 years by statute, the board must approve the school security program. And so it is up for that approval timeline. So I would entertain a motion to accept the Act 143 reports and approve the school security program. We can do it together, or if you want to break them up, we can break them up.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yep.
Okay, so under discussion, again, we are accepting reports that Lisa submits, and we are approving the security program. That committee will meet at some future date if we want to be involved in participating in that.
So we have to upload into the Office of School Safety, our school drills, when that'll happen, map of the school, the safety plan. There's a whole list of required things we have to upload by January 1st. So that's why we typically have you acknowledge that we've done these reports, as which is required from the Act 143. The school safety team meets usually once or twice a year, usually before school, looks at the update. It was last updated on July 1st, and we had a meeting sometime in July. I can't remember off the top of my head when we did that. Look through it all. We've got our safety plan that's divided into pre-event, during event, and post-event. It's pretty comprehensive. I've attached it to the executive content for your board.
I would make just a request. I know that the law requires, or my understanding is a triannual approval, but I don't see any harm in just whenever that committee gets together and updates the plan or reviews the plan, that could just be an agenda item for information, just so we're abreast of that.
As
And we
you
could-
wish.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yep.
Lisa
Yeah,
will
that
will
3
do
years
that.
is like, did we do it last year? Did we not? So to do it every year, there would be no harm. We have to upload these documents anyway. It's all part of the same package. I think it would be a great idea just to keep the board abreast of the safety plan. It's an important thing.
Yes,
I again
and
just appreciate
I was
all
just
of
gonna-
this. It's really beautifully done.
Yeah, and
so.
kudos to Lisa. This is something that Lisa has really, our district, when you talk to the various state law enforcement agencies, our school has a great reputation. Her and Sean, Lisa and Sean, police chief, work very well together on this. We did a drill, a live active shooter drill this September that teachers participated in, for your information, Mike, where there was a lot of action going on, and how many chairs does it take to barricade the door, and all these things that the teachers need to know. So Lisa does a great job with this, and we should be really, parents can be really, really confident in knowing that, we never want that bad day, but we're as prepared
We're
as
as
you can be.
prepared as we possibly could be.
All right, all in favor of.
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
In the safety plan, it mentions the new machine that we have in the office where people are checking their IDs. Do we have the fading stickers now?
Adam, do we have a
I
fading
know I have a
stickers? No.
sticker. I
No,
don't know
they're
if
not
it
fading
fades,
yet.
but
Not fading.
Why?
the sticker works.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They're
I
supposed to
know.
fade within 24 hours, and
They don't.
you can just reuse them over and over because they don't fade.
I've never tried.
We've had some back order issues, so
Okay,
working on it, but
all right,
Great.
thanks.
No, thank you.
Any estimate on when we'll have them?
I don't have that for you now.
Okay, just let us know next time.
Sure.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent comment. All right, all in favor of accepting and approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, at this point, we will adjourn to a closed session to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation criteria of an employee over which we have jurisdiction under Wisconsin 1985, Parent 1.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will go into closed session. Michael, we'd like you to step outside but stay nearby.